What's up, everyone? Welcome to another episode of Backup Fantasy Sports. It is Wednesday, November 15th. My name is Ewan, and on today's episode, we're going to get into some F1 fantasy with a Las Vegas Grand Prix preview. 2 races left in the season, and we are kicking it off on the strip with the last of the doubleheaders for the season. Going to be quite a spectacle, lots to kind of discuss, but with the race starting on a Thursday this week, Thursday, Friday, Saturday is our Grand Prix schedule for the weekend. I will get into it and we will get in and out of here pretty quickly. So let's get right into it with a quick Brazil Grand Prix preview. It was kind of a wild time. There were qualifying, sprint, race, there was weather, there was disappointments. There was everything in between. Lots of managers using their extra DRS boost, their autopilot chips, their limitless chips, some successfully, some not so successfully. We'll get into all that real quick here. But qualifying, it was kind of a weekend of max here. Very boring. We didn't see him on our TV that much. Came first in qualifying, first in the sprint, first in the race. Yeah, just continuing his super dominant season on the track and in our F1 fantasy squads. Charles Leclerc had an okay weekend, second in qualifying, fifth in sprint, but then it all unraveled on Sunday as he did not start due to a hydraulic failure, I believe. There may have been another reason that came out after the race, but I did not see that. For the race on Sunday, it went Max, Lando, Fernando, Sergio. They had an epic battle for third place, but Alonso came out on top over Checo there. Then Lance Stroll continued Aston Martin's kind of resurgence here. Pierre Gasly in 7th, Lewis Hamilton 8th, 9th for Yuki Tsunoda, and 10th for Esteban Ocon. There were tons of DNFs with George Russell, Valtteri Bottas, Zhou Guanyu, Kevin Magnussen, and Alexander Albon all not finishing the race. And yeah, it was quite disappointing. I did not play a chip. I tried to go with Lewis Hamilton and Mercedes, and it did not work out well, as we will see soon. Brazil Grand Prix facts and stats here. The optimal team looks very similar to the beginning of the year here, with Red Bull, Aston Martin up on top, Norris with the 2 times, so that was good for people that played the autopilot chip, like myself. Verstappen, Alonso, Perez, Stroll. Does that look familiar? 445 points. That was 136.9 million. So that could have been you if you had that budget, but not a lot of people are going triple Aston Martin, triple Red Bull. It was not the first 6 races of the season. Positions gained over the weekend, Gasly and Logan Sargent with 8, Tsunoda with 7. Overtakes were Alonso and Perez with 12, then Gasly, Ocon, and Tsunoda tied with 10. And the fastest pit stop went to Red Bull, who got 13 of the 18 points, and McLaren got 5. Lando Norris once again got driver of the day, as is becoming quite typical. Qualified 7th after some crazy weather on Friday's qualifying. Ended up with both Aston Martins at the top, or not at the top, but near the top of the standings. McLaren got it wrong, and it did not pan out too well for them as a result of Sunday's race, with Oscar Piastri being back there. Kind of got wrangled up in that mess of a first turn with Kevin Magnussen, Nico Hulkenberg, and Alexander Albon. But in the sprint, Lando qualified first, finished second in the race, had 3 positions gained, 5 overtakes on the weekend, 57 fantasy points, another new high score of the season. It was his 5th Driver of the Day award, 3rd straight, and it was actually the 5th consecutive Driver of the Day award for McLaren, as Piastri took it in Japan and Qatar. My team, not so hot yet again. The triple header was an unmitigated disaster for Alonso. Fell 10,000 places in the overall rankings when I should have been making a push up to the top 3K, top 1K. It all unraveled over the course of 3 weeks. And yeah, first one, Austin. Not going to blame myself there for the DQs. But then Mexico, went back to Checo, and then in Brazil, went away from Checo. So yeah, I'm going to have to really perform a kind of exorcism on myself about Sergio, because if he's on Red Bull next year, it's going to be really hard to trust him. But I did use my autopilot here. 274 points, 2 transfers. I went from Sergio Perez to Hamilton and Red Bull to Mercedes. Dropping down from Red Bull to Mercedes facilitated that move from Sergio to Hamilton. But the autopilot chip did work out. Lando got more points. He outscored Max in the season. So I made up some points there. But overall, just let's shoot for top 10K now. This is it's gone pretty poorly over here on the Alonso team. So we'll see what happens in Vegas. Sounds like a lot of no negative chips, final fix chips are going to get played, autopilot chips. I only have my wild card left as I've used quite a few chips in the second half of the season. So yeah, just it's not going great, but hopefully there is some advice that I can give you here in this video and in Abu Dhabi next weekend to kind of get you as high as you want to finish in the season. Las Vegas, the Las Vegas Strip circuit kind of looks like a pig upside down. If you look at the track layout here, circuit length 6.201 kilometers, 50 laps, 17 corners, 2 DRS zones, and it is the inaugural Grand Prix at this venue. Las Vegas did have a couple of races in the 80s in the Caesar Palace's parking lot, I believe, but this is the first time that this track will be raced on. Lots of controversy surrounding it, what it's done to Las Vegas, kind of how it's going to play out, but it's going to be interesting. It's going to be fun. Weird times. So that is mostly the thing you need to watch out for is lineup locks this weekend and when you can even watch the race because it's weird and wacky times. It somehow works out better for us over here in Europe than it does for our stateside comrades. Schedule is Thursday. They've got free practice 1, free practice 2. Friday is free practice 3. Qualifying is technically Friday night, but it's actually at midnight in Vegas. So Friday, Saturday, whatever you want to say. And then Saturday is the Grand Prix, but it's actually on Sunday morning for us Euros and for East Coast. So yeah, going to be fun. So qualifying lineup is going to be midnight Friday, Saturday. What are we saying there? Midnight between Friday and Saturday for local time if you're in Vegas, which would be great. 3 a.m. Saturday morning if you're on the East Coast, and 8 a.m. UK time on Saturday as well. I know that's kind of confusing with the graphic there, Thursday, Friday, Saturday, but that's the race days. So that's what we're going with there. But yes, your lineup locks, if you're on anything, if you're further east than Vegas, you're going to be locking in your team on Saturday morning. So I will be locking in my team here at 9 o'clock Germany time, Saturday morning, which is kind of strange, but there we go. Weather, that's kind of been a huge talking point here. I found this on Twitter, courtesy of F1 Fantasy _. He found this snippet here as of right now from Race Week on a platform I'm not familiar with, but it says, as of right now, it's predicted that the temperatures for the Las Vegas Grand Prix could be as low as 4 degrees Celsius. The record for the current coldest Grand Prix was the 1978 Canadian Grand Prix, where it was 5 degrees Celsius. This is genuinely going to be chaos, especially as there's almost no proper corners on the track, and it's corners that put temperature into the tires. And instead, there's just straights which cool the tires. They're just going to be tiptoeing around and swerving everywhere. While that was going kind of around last week, the forecast has improved here. So let's actually go and get to the weather in Las Vegas. Let's just show us what we've got going on here. So as we can see while it loads, here we go. So this is Tuesday, Wednesday, Thursday. High of 22 degrees Celsius. This is King's English. Low of 11 degrees Celsius. 0% chance of rain during Friday or free practice 1 and 2. So that is good. Friday, it says here 22 degrees high, 11 degrees low, 25% chance of rain. Mostly cloudy. Dress warmly for practice and qualifying at night. So even AccuWeather knows why we are checking on the Las Vegas weather this weekend. And then if we scroll down a little further, if my laptop will let us do that. Here we go. Saturday, some sun, then turning cloudy. Oh, went too far. There we go. Going back. That new MacBook Pro looking mighty nice right now. But there it says 21 degrees Celsius, 11 degrees low. So some sun, then turning cloudy. Dress warmly for the night race. Here we go. So Viva Las Chaos. So what I did was I kind of just went through there are 7 street circuits this year. on the F1 calendar, Monaco and Albert Park included. But I didn't include those because those have not had their first race in this century. So the four that are on the calendar this year: Singapore, Baku, Saudi Arabia, and Miami, and Las Vegas, obviously. So I kind of went back and just looked at their first races ever on their current layouts, and how people did. Was there a lot of chaos? So here, Singapore 2008 was the first year. There were 5 DNFs. Baku in Azerbaijan 2017, there were 6 DNFs. Saudi Arabia in 2021, there were 5 DNFs. And then Miami 2022, there were 3 DNFs. So with the chaos predicted, with low temperatures, kind of new layout, there's obviously going to be an added risk. This kind of shows us that it does happen. Like those are more DNFs than we're used to seeing this season alone. Besides Brazil, which is kind of chaotic, and Australia, obviously. But yeah, Singapore, Baku, Saudi Arabia all had 5 or 6 DNFs. Miami with 3. They have repaved the surface. There are long straights. It's going to be good for draggier cars. Just listening to the Missed Apex podcast, Matt and Spanners, we're talking about what's going to be good. It's kind of the opposite of Mexico. So it's not going to be hot and thin air. It's kind of going to be dense and cool air, which should be good for the Silver Arrows, who Lewis was good in Mexico, but it did not go well for them in Sao Paulo, where they were quite draggy and it did not work out well. But yeah, just something else to think about here. Another like pro in the no negative chip column for this race weekend. Chip strategy here. There's only 2 races left. Smoke them if you got them here. So as I have said here, no negative, final fix, autopilot could be very good in Vegas. Like Max goes out, Max gets involved in a crash or something like that. Like the weekend could be ruined and the autopilot will bail you out there. I think the autopilot is preferred to the no negative. If that was your thinking, that you're like scared of a Max DNF, then autopilot will just flip it over and you'll probably make up the gains of a no negative from that there, even if it's like, because especially if Max is your captain or your driver DRS boost, that will help you out a lot there. That's kind of what I did in Brazil. I wasn't scared of a Max DNF per se, but I just thought Lando was in form, like driver of the day, fastest lap, that kind of stuff. So that worked out quite well. And then I've got wild card left. Maybe I'll use it for Abu Dhabi to kind of get a crazy lineup going, but we will see. That will be for next week's preview. But let's see what I am thinking about doing for my squad this week. With the race previews kind of all saying that like long straights, drag your cars could do well here. I am thinking about getting Williams back in, who just got this new sweater, so it's kind of nice. Kind of enjoying that there. Let's go to, where are we? My team. Here we go. Here is this slower than a Mercedes at Sao Paulo is my team right now. But we go again. So what can I do here? I got 0.3 in the bank. Here's my current lineup. I'm pretty sure I can just go straight back to the Sergio Red Bull build, which is not super fun, but could be worth it if I'm just trying to pass some ghost teams. I'm sure there's some ghost teams ahead of me now after that Aston Martin craziness over the weekend. But that would leave me with 1.4. I don't think I can get up from Ricardo to anyone from there. Yeah, Yuki is going to be 2 million out of the price range now. So goodbye to him. If I was going to activate my wild card, which could potentially happen, I would think about maybe bringing in Albon here instead of Piastri. Piastri has been slowing down a bit. Let's just check him out here. So after his Driver of the Day awards in Japan and Qatar, -20, 14, 3 in Brazil, he does seem to be hitting a little bit of a rookie wall, whereas Lando is really just firing all cylinders right now. As you can see here, Lando's increased his score by each of the last 6 races. So great job by him. 7 races, because Italy did not go well for him. But yeah, 30, 31, 41, 46, 48, 57. Lando is crushing. He's now 20 million, which is a fair bit of money. But If I was going to get rid of Oscar, bring in Sergio, I would definitely look at Alex Albon if the Williams looks strong here. Long straights, cool temperatures, that should help them out a lot. And then that would get me enough money to get Yuki Tsunoda in here. So the wild card might be getting played this week, to be honest. Get me out of this mess here. Oscar didn't rise at all. Yuki rose a million. AlphaTauri has the rear suspension parts from the RB19 all of a sudden, and they are flying up the constructor standings. So you definitely want a piece of them going forward. So if Red Bull's doing well, then it sounds like AlphaTauri will do quite well this weekend now that they have the same parts. But yeah, this is kind of what I could be doing. Wildcard seems fun. Like, really trying to still get into the top 10K, but this could be a slightly different build here with Max, Sergio, Lando, McLaren, Red Bull, Alex, and Yuki. Good job to anyone that kept Sergio Perez. He had a fantastic weekend, 37 points. Yeah, this is great. So I had him for this race here, Japan, -11. Had him for Qatar, -3. Got him out for the USA, 32. Brought him back in for Mexico, -10, and then got him out for Brazil, 37. When I do my awards show at the end of the season, I will definitely calculate all this and see the amount of sadness that I need to be prepared for with Sergio Perez in my life. He is pretty much in control of second place in the driver standings now after Lewis's bad weekend and him having a stronger finish in Brazil. So would think that he stays in Red Bull next season. Does he have a strong start again? We will see. But yes, this is probably where I'm thinking right now. I know a lot of people will still want to go with the meta, which is probably the strong triple RB, triple Red Bull, or triple RB, triple Red Bull, triple R Red Bull, triple McLaren, and this will leave you 6.9 for my budget. Get the AlphaTauri, get the fourth Red Bull asset in your team, and just roll with this. I'll be fine. Oscar Piastri, you can't get up anyone higher than him. I guess Pierre Gasly is 0.1 more than him now, but not going near Alpine. So yeah, if this is the lineup you want to go with, that's perfectly fine. Triple McLaren, quadruple Red Bull, very nice for this weekend. But that's just all before free practices. So that is definitely something we need to keep an eye on as we watch this weekend kind of unfold. There is one more race after this. It's going to be the Abu Dhabi Grand Prix, where we had an epic finish 2 seasons ago. Yeah, and that's going to be it for the season, which is kind of crazy. It's been a wild ride. Second half of this, since the summer break, has not been kind to myself, but I know tons of people have had great rank rises. So congrats to all of you that are doing fantastically well. But I really appreciate you watching these videos despite my terrible ranking. Hopefully I am bringing you something, making you think about something headed into the weekend. That would be great. And if that is the case, I would love you to just like the video, subscribe to the channel. Not sure how much off-season content will be coming your way from the F1 fantasy landscape, but you know, if you play FPL, I'm also there every game week, so watch that too. But the main thing to look at this weekend, so is the lineup locks. This is going to catch people out. You need to set an alarm. If you're really vying for your mini league lead, you need to set an alarm to get these times right. Local time, midnight, 8 a.m. UK, 3 a.m. Eastern. Those are on Saturday, November 18th, which is technically Friday is when qualifying is happening. Just do not get caught out. Look at these times. These are all right. I double, triple check them. Midnight local time, 8 a.m. UK time, 3 a.m. Eastern. Lineup locks. That's honestly the most important thing this weekend. Do not get caught out by these weird times with a Saturday night qualifying, which is like actually a night qualifying, and you will not. Just don't forget to set your lineup, please. I don't want to see any sad stories on Twitter about I forgot the lineup lock, I got confused. So please look at this slide, use it right here. But that's going to do it for this week's episode of Backup Fantasy Sports and the Las Vegas Grand Prix preview. Three free practices, going to be great. Going to get a lot of data to look at. Super fun. Hoping it's a good spectacle. Hoping it doesn't fail. would love some chaos going into the last week, just kind of shake it up. And yeah, it's going to be a great weekend of sports with that. No FPL, but yeah, Las Vegas Grand Prix. And it's kind of weird how it works out better for the Europeans than it does the Americans, unfortunately, for them. But I will not complain about it for this year, at least. But once again, thanks for listening. Like and subscribe to the channel. Follow me on X at UN or You Out. I am posting some YouTube shorts, TikTok, Instagram Reels with my pit stop reactions to each race weekend. But yeah, once again, thanks for listening, and I will talk to you next time.